Atlanta Motor Speedway, located about 20 miles south of downtown Atlanta in Hampton, Georgia, has come a very long way from the first race held in 1960 and won by NASCAR legend Fireball Roberts, who also took the pole at 133 miles per hour. Spectators from that day who watched from one small grandstand or on the blankets spread out adjacent to a dirt bank wouldn't begin to recognize the facility today, even down to the name. Dubbed Atlanta International Raceway when it opened, the track struggled financially through the 60s and 70s before finding a degree of stability in the 1980s. Future Georgia Governor and U.S. President Jimmy Carter briefly worked here as a ticket seller on race weekends back in the 60s. Real change came following Bruton Smith's purchase of the facility in 1990, with the culmination of the transformation of the Atlanta International Speedway occurring in 1997, with extensive reconfiguration that switched front and back straightaways and added a double dogleg in the new front straightaway. In the 7 intervening years, new grandstands sprouted almost every year, with a 9-story tower, Terra Place, that houses the track's offices and a number of luxury condominiums. And the building continues to this day. In 2006, Winner's Grandstand was erected overlooking the double dogleg front stretch and pits and atop the new private membership Club 1, which features climate-controlled views of the entire track. This year, 2022, we got a repave, narrowed racing surface, and taller banking added. Atlanta Motor Speedway is more like Atlanta Super Speedway, with Super Speedway-like drafting at the ready. Stay tuned. It's the Numb Thumbs Racing ARCA series, and it's coming up next on HBR TV. Good afternoon, everyone, again, and welcome to virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. At least that's what they're calling it for now. We talked about it in the open. It's turned into a super speedway with this high banking they've added to it, narrow racing surface, and it's been a blast to watch. We've seen a couple races here already, at least on the real side of things. One as recently as well, maybe a half an hour ago, the Xfinity Series wrapping up. Austin Hill taking the win in that one. But again, it's very draft dependent, and we're going to hopefully see a lot of that here tonight, see if that translates over to these ARCA cars. We're going to get down to practice here. It is just about wrapped up. Top on the board, Mark Collins, a 30.174. Carson Conway, second quick. His fastest lap of the day, a 30.84, only a tenth off of Collins. Third place, Richard Gray. Dalton Wagner, fourth. Brian Tiffany, that's the top 5 in practice. Joe Robert currently 11th. Gonna have to keep a close eye on the overlays tonight. It seems that the SDK server may be having some issues. It was a little wonky on us early on, and as of right now, it shows, well, Joe Robert in the pits versus on the track where we're watching him right now. Hopefully that changes. Nevertheless, we got a backup plan, so it's not going to be perfect, but it's not completely lost. As you see, the 16 hit the pit lane. Practice coming to an end. We're going to jump right into qualifying here momentarily. Looks like the first car to hit the track is the 04 Dalton Wagner. Now expect these lap times, single car runs, to be significantly slower than those from the practice session. We'll get another quick peek at it. Again, the practice results. Mark Collins was quickest, a 30.742. Then it was Conway, Gray, Wagner, Tiffany, Barish, Harris, Kraft, Vincent Short, James Bowden, Joe Robert, Double Odd Joe Bennett, 13th Chris Clark, Derek Welch, Ken Stocks, John Osborne, and Richard Hurst. Take a look at the time as the 04 crosses the stripe here. We'll see what he clocks in all by his lonesome without the help from the draft. It's a 32.61. You see how different it really is. Carson Conway out on the track. He crosses the stripe. This is lap 1 complete for Conway. He is provisional pole, 32.537. We'll stay on with the 72 here for another lap. See if he can improve here, pick up that lap time. Conway trying to take the short way around, crosses down the bottom through the dog leg. Lap 2 for Conway, 31.99. Second quick, though, because Dalton Wagner put his on the pole, 31.97 on his second lap. Vincent Short, a 32.62 on his first lap, crosses the stripe for lap 2, 31.96. That's seventh fast on the board. Ken Stocks, the number 28 machine, he is on his run as well. Again, if you're unfamiliar with this, qualifying happens all at once, but everybody gets their own track to deal with because technically it's single car qualifying, but running 17 cars here. A warm-up lap plus 2 timed laps, doing that one at a time. Well, we'd be here a while, so they do it all at once. It's the beauty of sim racing. You can kind of make that work. Speeds up the session a bit. This Ken Stocks' first lap, a 32.868, good enough for 9th. Derek Welch's first lap, 32.534 for the driver of the NTG1 machine. So Derek's going to complete lap number 2. It's going to put him 7th fast on the board, 32.052. Unable to crack that 31-second mark. Now the 16 of Joe Robert. Again, so far, 31.94. That's top time. It's the 81 of John Osborne. They're running low 30s in the draft. Again, very similar to what you see at Daytona and Talladega. Qualifying times much slower. Again, restricted engines here to keep the speeds down in the pack. Joe Robert off turn 4. Did he get in the fence? He did not. 32.867 for his first lap. He's the last car currently on the track to take a time. Let's see if he gets back to the start-finish in time to complete his second lap. I believe he will with 30 seconds left in the session. Looks like 4 drivers opting not to take a time. Start towards the rear. That's Mark Collins, Brian Tiffany, Double Lot Joe Buck, and Tom Barish. Fifth quick on the second lap, a 31.99. Joe Robert had something up his sleeve there. A good time, top 5 starting position for the 16 as he wraps up qualifying. Officially 5 minutes left in the session. We're going to step aside, get a word from some sponsors, and we will be back with the starting grid after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Qualifying just about wrapped up. A couple drivers we thought opted to stay off the track during qualifying. Well, maybe they had a change of heart or they're waiting for track temps to come down. Double out Joe Bennett in, well, the 00. He's out on the track, about to take time for his first lap. He has taken the green flag so far. 2 laps to get his time locked in. Mark Collins also out there. Collins completes his first lap. He checks in 13th quick on lap 1. It does seem that lap 2 is the fastest of the 2 timed laps. We'll have to see if that holds true for Collins as he is out on track halfway through with his first or second lap for that matter. Joe Bennett, the number 00 down the back straightaway. 15th quick on his first timed lap. 33.173. Collins goes P1. 31.94. Edges out John Osborne by 1/100th of a second. Double out Joe Bennett. Crosses the line. 32.068. 10th fast. Mark Collins, though, he's going to put the number 45 on P1 here. Late in the running of qualifying with just over a minute left to go. 31.942 seconds. Quick time. A lot of guys will do that. They'll wait. Get that better track temp. Sometimes it's all it takes. It didn't take much to get him on the pole position. Brian Tiffany, Tom Barish could still come back out, make an attempt, but time is getting real short here. They're going to have to do it right away. In fact, I think time is slipped away for those two if they decide to change their mind. So they're going to start at the back of the pack. That's going to put Mark Collins on pole position. Mark out of Castlewood, Virginia. Stellar lap out of the 45. Again, you look at the timing tower on the left, it only shows, well, no gap between P1 and P2. I see a little bit more detail on my end. 31.94 for Mark Collins, a 31.95 for John Osborne. Qualifying has officially come to a close. Field is about to get gridded up on the front straightaway here, and we'll be underway shortly with 1 pace lap. Taking a look at the qualifying times, official 31.942 for Mark Collins. It was actually 4/1000ths of a second the difference between P1 and P2. James Bowden was 3rd, Vince Short 4th, Dalton Wagner 5th. Tight times all the way back. We're less than 0.2 of a second back to the 13th position. Again, Brian Tiffany, Tom Barish not taking a time here this afternoon. Let's go down, though. Let's get our starting grid for tonight's race number 14 from Atlanta, the Numb Thumbs Racing ARCA Series. On the pole position in the number 45. Late run from the 45, puts it on top. Mark Collins. To his outside is the 81, who thought he had himself a pole position. He starts second. Row number 2, it's James Bowden and Vincent Short. Row number 3, Dalton Wagner, and the 16 of Joe Robert. 7 starting position, Carson Conway, the number 72, with Richard Gray, the 110, starting 8th. Derek Welch in the 1. He'll start from the 9th position, and double out Joe Bennett in the 00, start 10th. Starting 11th, Chris Clark in the 7. 12th, Jason Kraft, the 23. 13th starting position, James Harris, the number 18 machine with Ken Stocks, the number 28. He'll start 14th. Richard Hurst in the 15. He'll start from the 15th spot with Brian Tiffany, the number 35, starting 16th. Last shotgun on the field, did not take a time in qualifying, the 55 of Tom Barish. That's your starting grid for tonight's Numb Thumbs Racing ARCA Series event from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Field rolling out through turns 1 and 2 already. As we get ready to take the green flag here. Again, one pace lap before we see the green flag. I have to take a look here. I'm not sure if they have enacted the use of the restart zone just yet. Some leagues have, some have not. But if they have, there is a little marked location. In fact, they may not have it here at the New Atlanta just yet. We'll have to look at that later on. But the pace car peels off the racing surface. Mark Collins brings the field down to the green flag. There's the Geico restart zone. The green flag waves. Mark Collins out to a big jump already, at least over the second row. The 81 of John Osborne slips there into the second position, 2 to 3 car lengths back from the 45. That's a bit too far out in front, if you ask me. Mark Collins out in front. Bit of a gap to second place. If you want to take that chance, those guys can form up and draft up to him. They have a lot of momentum when they get there. Lap 1 in the books, and it might have been John Osborne that actually led that lap. Kind of what I had just talked about, worried about that big gap between first and second. Second place was able to utilize some draft, get back to the 45, and go on by on the outside. Right now, John Osborne, P1. Second place, Vincent Short by maybe a nose or a little better over the 45 of Mark Collins. Across the stripe here, lap 2. John Osborne definitely leads that one. I think that's his second lap lead of the evening. Vince Short, though, making a move to the high side. John Osborne down at the bottom, the 81, that purple Kool-Aid machine. I love the paint scheme. Vincent Short up top, trying to take the top spot away. They're off turn 4. Little side draft coming from the 015. Surprised to see a side draft here so early on. Trying to see if it'll work. Little almost coming together there in the middle of 1 and 2. The 81 and the 015 kind of going for the same piece of real estate at the same time. Down the backstretch, Osborne still with the lead. The high side is Vince Short and the 16 of Joe Robert. Down in the bottom, you've got a bigger, more organized group of cars. That's going to help as far as the draft is concerned. Plus, it is the shorter distance around. At the stripe there, too close to call who led that one, but it's only lap 5. It doesn't really matter. We're going to continue on. Still a battle up front. Vincent Short leads the charge on the high side, and down at the bottom, the 81 of John Osborne. Short puts a nose out in front, down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Both lines lined up decent, organized well, 2 by 2 by 2, back 4 rows. Oh, a little loose off turn number 4. Might have been the 53 of James Bowden. Yes, it was. Real loose off turn number 4. Saved the car. Kept it out of trouble, but he's going to be dropped here to the back of the field. 14th position. Not sure what happened with Carson Conway on the start. Carson had a decent qualifying. In fact, we do have it here. Let's take a look at the replay. Carson Conway having an issue essentially at the start, maybe? Oh, just cuts across the nose of Derek Welsh there. This might have been lap 2. Yes, this was the second lap of the race. Carson Conway comes across the nose of the 1, gets sent down to the infield grass into the safer barrier. Down a lap early on. Back out front, still hot and heavy. It's like a swarm of bees out in front. The 81 swapping lanes here to block the advancement from the 015 of Vincent Short. Drops it back down to the bottom to do the same to the 45. Meanwhile, the 45 of Mark Collins has slipped across the nose of Vincent Short, taking over the second spot. Move Short back to third, fourth, depending on what part of the track we're at, because it is side by side. all the way back to the 10th position, 2 by 2, 5 rows back. John Osborne, though, continues to lead, but Mark Collins wants it back. He's in the high side with drafting help as well. But again, you've got the same number of cars, top to bottom. It's hard to really build a huge advantage, especially if you can't keep them perfectly lined up. This place is a lot smaller than Daytona and Talladega. You're going to need to really try hard to keep these cars in a straight line. Where at Daytona, Talladega, you seemingly have a little bit more room, but that turning radius is a lot wider. You don't have to try and manhandle the car through the corner. Nevertheless, John Osborne continues to lead with 10 laps in of 120. Still plenty of challengers in behind. The 04, that's Dalton Wagner. He's got to win this season. I think it might have been Watkins Glen. We're going to go on board here with the 45 of Mark Collins. See what he sees as he battles for the top spot. Not much has changed at the front of the field. It's a battle between Osborne and Collins, but we do have a slow car up ahead. I believe it's the 72 of Carson Conway. It's going to be interesting to see how the pack negotiates that traffic. It is only one car, but definitely much slower than these cars in the draft. We'll see if Carson drops down and gets out of the way. As the 15 loose up in the marbles behind, that was the driver Richard Hurst. Pack starting to make plans here to get around the 72. The 04 of Dalton slides up a bit, almost contact with the 45. Collins goes topside. The 04 of Dalton Wagner close to the back bumper of the 81. They work the dog leg. Now they're going to catch Conway. The 72 just in front, a lap vehicle. The 16th position will be careful here trying to get by. It's pretty narrow. He's going to have to drop down to the bottom if he's going to make it easy for him. But again, early on, he probably wants to try and stay at least one lap down. If not, he's going to be down 2. Makes it that much more difficult to make those back up. He does not slide out of the way. He defends that lap down position. He is actually 2 laps down. Needs 2 cautions, though, and he could be right back in this. It's early. This is not 10 to go. It's 16 laps in. Carson's going to try hard to stay out in front of these leaders. See, Osborne has switched lanes. He is now in top side. Mark Collins also there in behind in the top lane. Carson does drop it down. Checks up out of the throttle down the back straightaway. Lets everybody go. He's going to tuck back in behind. I don't know if he checked up too much. He's way out of the throttle. He might be coming to pit road here. Not sure if that was the plan or what had happened with the 72. Definitely way too much out of the throttle there. He has lost the draft, and again, the leader's going to catch him in a hurry all over again. Dalton Wagner now challenging for the top spot. Osborne up high, Wagner down low. Joe Robert, Mark Collins, Vince Short. That's your top 5 as they work into turns 3 and 4. Right on board with the 04 of Dalton Wagner as he continues to fight for that top spot. John Osborne clears the 04. He drops it back down to the bottom. Seemed to be the preferred lane, at least early on here. Now Wagner goes back up top in front of the 45 of Collins. 16 to Joe Robert. He's back in the mix. And Derek Welch from the rear of the field has powered his way up. He is into the 5th position. Meanwhile, Vincent Short has slipped 5 spots. He's back down to 9th. $20 down, $100 to go from Atlanta. Close quarters battle at the front of the field. Osborne, Wagner, Collins have been the primary players here, but Derek Wagner in the Numb Thumbs Gaming #1 is coming in a hurry. He wants to be a part of this mix, but also is the 15 of Richard Hurst. We saw him get crossed up as the 45 of Collins. He's in the fence just a bit. That's going to kill the momentum big time. 45 slots back into the 8th spot. Trouble, though, puts the right sides into the safer barrier. Been a relatively clean race thus far. We are 22 laps in. We've had a couple of bumps and bruises, but nothing of any major consequence. Lap 2, we saw Carson Conway and Derek Welch come together. It ended with Conway in through the grass and making contact with the inside wall. He's now 3 laps down. But Welch got away with that one relatively clean as he runs in the 5th position. Since then, we've seen a couple of sliders here and there, but nothing major. No caution flags. We remain under the green, which is rather impressive with these ARCA cars and this Super Speedway style package that we have here at Atlanta Super Speedway. Still, this battling is continuing at the top of the field here. John Osborne, Dalton Wagner, Vincent Short now the primary players. Vincent had slipped back to 5th, 6th position. Now he's worked his way back, battling for 3rd with the other 15. Again, Vincent is the 015. He's got the 15 of Richard Hurst to his inside. So far, the 25 laps that we've watched to this point, it almost seems like a mistake is going to need to be made to make some major passes here at the front of the field. That'll really just push the issue. I know we're only 25 laps in. The aggression level, we won't necessarily expect or see that really ramp up here until, well, maybe the next 80, 85 laps or so. We might see that pick up a little bit. May cause a caution or two, and then, of course, cautions breed cautions. Brian Rhodes in the Facebook stream chat. Stream looks perfect. Put it on the TV. Can't even tell if it's HBR TV or NBC. Brian, I appreciate the kind words, my friend. Brian Rose, a HBR team principal and also the owner of Track Bar Media, one of the sponsors of HBR TV. Still the top 8 side by side all the way back to the end of this pack. As soon as I say that, though, Dalton Wagner crosses over into the top spot in front of the 81 of Osborne. Vince Short unable to go with him. In fact, loses the drafting partner, but the 81 slots back up into the high side, back in front of the 015 of Short. They continue to draft down the back straightaway. 45 of Collins in the fence again. Nothing significant, but more you do it, the worse it gets. Dalton Wagner still out in front. Crossing over top to bottom, trying to defend and block both lanes. Right now, Richard Hurst is the first contender there in the second spot. He tucks in behind the 04, but Derek Welch again coming up. Caution is out. Not 100% sure if this is related to an incident or if this is a stage. Try to get that information for everybody here as soon as we can. Yes, indeed it is. Stages today, lap 30 and lap 60. So it appears Dalton Wagner has won the first stage. I'd like to try and get Dalton Wagner up into the booth here, but it doesn't appear that he is in any of the chats, so we cannot get a word with our stage winner. He's going to hit the pit lane here. Nevertheless, we'll follow the action as Dalton Wagner, really the whole field, is going to roll down the pit lane here. First stage break of the race. Again, laps 30 and 60. Expect to see the cars on the pit lane. Wagner down and away, 14.98 seconds for the 04. Quick stop, 4 tires and fuel. Vincent Short, though, looks like he went with 2. 10.4 seconds for the 015. He's going to take over the top spot. Might be a little experimental pit work, pit strategy here for the Track Bar Media Chevrolet. Vince gets it out front. We'll be real curious to see how that changes the handling. I know we are running a super speedway type package here, but again, much tighter confines, tighter turns, smaller track. May loosen this car up a little more than he wants to. Again, I don't have any laps around this place since they've updated it, especially in an ARCA car. You know, maybe they're tight. Maybe they start to build tight as the run goes on, and maybe this 2-tire change for Vincent Short, it may improve that. I know many times a right side only tire change, it does make him run a little bit loose, a little more oversteer. Have to see how it pans out. And if it doesn't, we get another stage break at lap 60. He can take 4 then and go a 60-lap run to the finish. Getting something in the stream chat that Dalton is in the Discord for the interview, but they are going back to green. I am not going to interrupt that. Don't see him. Maybe he's in my Discord. No. Well, either way. Pace car is going to peel off here. We're going to go back to the green flag here. 34 laps will go up on the board.
Green flag.
Nice short run here to lap 60 for our second stage. Oh, contact between Dalton and the 015 of Vincent Short. They both get away with it. Real lucky to do that. Caught Short in the right rear, and it almost was disaster for the whole field. Vince Short trying to block both lanes. It looks like he's just going to become the meat in the sandwich into turn number 3. 3 wide. Vincent Short loses the top spot. The 15 goes to the bottom. Derek Welch goes too high. He's in the fence. Derek Welch dropping back, throwing the anchor out the back. Crosses the stripe. He was in the top 3 there. Now he's back to 12th. Right side damage, not significant, but certainly scraped that safer barrier considerably. Back out front, Richard Hurst, the 15, he's taken over the top spot through that little exchange. Vincent Short slides back into the second row up top. The 015 runs 4th. Down to the bottom, it's the 16 machine of Joe Robert. And again, Dalton Wagner up top, the 04. See Vince Short swinging it way wide through the dog leg there. Don't know if he's just trying to get a peek around the outside or if that's just a product of the 2-tire stop that he had made. To see how it progresses through the rest of this run. 24 laps to get us to the end of this stage. Two by two, and then the lone 5th place machine there, the number 23, Jason Kraft. 81 of Joe Osborne, maybe a slow stop, and he's been shuffled back from the front back to 6th. Dalton Wagner using all of the racetrack to try and get around the 15, trying to build that momentum, drop back down in front of Vincent Short. Nothing doing there. Again, I think you're almost going to need a bit of a push, which really with these ARCA cars, you don't want to do that. The bumpers do not line up very well at all. If you're really ginger about it, you can do it. You push the issue just a bit further than that, you're going to lift the rear tires off the ground, and then the melee will be on. Richard Hurst still strong at the front of the field. Little wiggle from Dalton Wagner there. Off corner exit. Keeps it going straight. Vincent Short still in behind the 04. The 16 there. Joe Robert. He's on the inside lane behind the leader, the 15. 23 of Jason Kraft remains in the 5th position. And John Osborne back in 6th. Behind John, you've got double-out Joe Bennett working his way up through the field. He's in the 7th position. Better tighten up here a little bit, though. You don't want to lose that draft. He's not in danger yet, but any further back, Don't want to be there because then you're going to slide all the way back to that second group of cars. Top six, 2x2, back to the third row. The seventh place machine now is Osborne in the 81. Keep seeing that trailing car. I don't know if they're having difficulty as the last car in line keeping up with the draft, but a little bit of a straggler there. But you see Double Out Joe Buck. He is back into the mix in behind the 16 machine. Just as we talk about that, this other pack behind the leaders has started to group up, get organized, and work their way back. They've caught the tail end of this lead pack. So that's going to bring Chris Clark in the 7, James Bowden and Derek Welch back into the picture. Mark Collins in the 45. He's at the very tail of that group. He is at risk of losing that draft. I know he did make some contact with the wall a couple of times in that first stage. As you see Derek Welch in the fence again. Derek Welch slides it up the racetrack. I don't know if that's aero push that he's fighting because he's done it a couple of times. We saw the same thing with the 45 of Collins. Again, both of these drivers are very quick. It's kind of an uncharacteristic mistake that you're seeing out of them, but nevertheless, they hang tough. They're still there. They haven't lost the draft yet, but they're going to need to line up here, stay together. Both of these NTG machines into turn 3 and 4. Car at the front of the field gets up into the loose stuff as well. He puts it in the fence. I'm not sure who exactly that was. It might have been the 15 or Richard Hurst. In fact, yes, it was. Hurst was leading. He's now 4th. New leader now, the 16 to Joe Robert. Dalton Wagner's still there in the 2nd position, but pressure coming from the 23 of Jason Kraft. Vincent Short back in the 5th position. Joe Robert taking a completely different line to most of the leaders we've seen today, way up top. It's going to open the door on the bottom for Dalton Wagner. Wagner's going to look to the bottom here through the dog leg into turn number 1. Certainly does not have the 16 clear, but trying to hook the bottom a little bit. We see that a little bit at Charlotte. Try to get the left sides on that painted line on the bottom, and the car really wants to rotate. Got to be careful, though, especially in these ARCA cars. Over-rotate it. Well, then you just got yourself a spin in front of the field. You don't want to see that happen. Dalton Wagner, though, clears the 16, but he slides up the racetrack. Crossover from the Joe Robert machine. He's going to cross the stripe, continue to lead. Don't know if that was just a dive bomb to switch lanes for Dalton Wagner or what happened there, but the 16 maintains the top spot. Wagner 2nd, Kraft 3rd, Short 4th, Osborne 5th. Correction, Hurst 4th. Wagner going back to the bottom again, trying to take the lead. Off turn 4, through the dog leg. Wagner's going to lead this one, but now the 15 makes a move to the outside. Thought we were going to go 3 wide for a minute. No, we are 3 wide into turn number 1. 15's in the fence. Not enough room to make it happen. Nothing major, though. 15 of Hurst into the wall. Right side damage. Slides back just a bit. Again, everybody continues on. No caution. We've got 10 laps to settle this stage here. It moved by pretty quick. We see Vince Short, Derek Welch battling for the 6th position. Short has it. Welch wants it. Welch and Short into turn number 3. Welch on the bottom, that black and neon green number 1. Up top is the 015 track bar media entry of Vincent Short. This battle continues out front as well. Dalton Wagner continues to lead. Jason Kraft now up into the 2nd spot. John Osborne is slowly but surely working his way back towards the front of the field. He runs 3rd. 4th, Joe Robert. 5th, Richard Hurst. Quick Esports chiming in saying good looking race. Thanks for that as well. Dalton Wagner on the charge, though, out in front, starting to gap these guys just a bit. Don't know if you want to do that. We saw that at the beginning of the race. Pole sitter, the 45 of Collins, he got out to too far of an advantage on the initial start. It was 3-4 car lengths. And then by the end of lap 1, the rest of the field had worked their way back to the back bumper. And in fact, Collins, I don't think he crossed the line as the leader. I think he was 2nd by the time they hit the stripe. Did defend there for a little while, worked his way back up, but Collins now runs in the 8th position. Caution does come out, though. Carson Conway, Kenneth Stocks, it looks like, possibly. Yep, Ken Stocks at 28 in trouble. Lap 55 here at Atlanta. Let's see if we can get a look at it here from the drone. Catching it a little late. This looks like this may have come off the nose of the 18. We're going to rewind that just a bit because it started in the replay a little late. Yeah, okay, so here we are. Off turn number 4. Oh, the 28 gets to the apron there. That's going to send him way up the track into the path of the 18. 18 is going to try and take advantage of that loss of momentum. And just drives into the left rear of the 28. Ken Stocks and James Harris battling for position there, and unfortunately the 28 of Stocks gets the raw end of the deal. Well, pit stop's underway here. Dalton Wagner drags the rest of the field down pit lane. It's tough to say. They may call this as the stage. We are at lap 57 as the cars cross the line. Taking a look at Vincent Short, definitely right side tires. And lefts as well. Vincent Short 14.87 seconds for the 015. Richard Hurst, the 15. He was a 16.18 second. Maybe some damage repair there for Hurst. Carson Conway in the stream chat. He's eating ice cream. Derek Welch, 9.2 second stop. I don't know if that was tires, at least right side tires and fuel, or just fuel only. It's going to put him out in the front. Again, we've seen that if you can get out in that top 2 positions, it's very, I don't want to say easy to defend, but it is easier to stay out in that position and defend that. We do have Dalton Wagner actually in the green room here, so we'll try and get a word with Dalton. We'll pull him up. Dalton, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Got a copy. How we doing?
Good, man. I couldn't find you earlier, so I'm glad we got this caution to talk about it now. You won stage 1. Are they calling this stage 2 as well or no?
They are calling this a stage 2.
Were you the leader at the end of that caution? I didn't see. I was looking elsewhere.
Yes, I was.
So 2 stage wins for Dalton Wagner.
Yes, sir.
Last HBR TV broadcast, I think it was at the Glen, and you won that. Now you're putting on a show here at the Super Speedway Atlanta. What do you got for these guys for the rest of the this final stage here?
Oh man, I don't know. It feels like the first 2 stages I was fighting for my life there. Car's really tight on the inside behind some guys. So I like being out front here. I'm gonna try and keep that, but a little difficult. So I don't know. I guess everyone else is on. Derek, I guess, is on a different strategy. He took 2 tires. I'm assuming that's how we got back out in front. But hopefully I stay out in front here, and we'll see what happens for 60-some laps here.
Looks like Welch took 2 or none. It was a 9.2-second stop. So keep it in mind. Looks like you got 4. Pace car lights are off, it looks like, so we're going to get out of your ear and let you get back to the green flag here.
I appreciate it.
It was Dalton Wagner, driver of the 04. Stage 1, Stage 2 winner. As we get ready to go back to the green flag. So we talked about it at the beginning of the race, the Geico restart zone. There's the Geico logos painted on the inside of the track. Coming to the green flag, you should see them. Pace car peels off. If they've got it enabled, the drivers need to wait until they get in that zone to fire. They can go at the beginning of the zone or at the end of it.
Green, green.
And it looks like they just waited for the flag to wave on that one. Didn't even bother with it. We're back underway. Dalton Wagner, Derek Welch, the top 2. Joe Bennett, Mark Collins, John Osborne, the top 5 as they work into 1. Dalton Wagner and Derek Welch battling for that top spot through turns 1 and 2. Everybody up to full song here as they work the backstretch. 60 laps down, 60 laps to go. Welch on the bottom. Again, we've seen Derek get into the fence a couple of times this afternoon already. And on the bottom, you heard Dalton Wagner talk about how tight it was down there. The upper top lane there seems to be preferred. A little wiggle out of Wagner there through the dog leg. Back into turn number 1. They're still side by side, 4 or 5 rows back. Wagner a nose out in front, off of turn number 2. It's going to seesaw back and forth. Does seem like the inside lane has a little bit better numbers as far as drafting partners goes. Oh, and the 45 of Collins gets turned. We've got trouble. Big trouble. Collins is in it. The 55 is in it. Both cars make hard contact to the inside wall. Mark Collins, the one that got turned first here. Let's try and get a look at it. Jason Kraft just gets underneath the 45. We talked about that. Bumpers don't line up, and if you get a nose underneath the guy in front, you're going to lift those tires off of the racing surface, and then around it goes. Bunch of drivers involved. The 55 of Tom Barish got a piece of that as well. Watch it now from the blimp. John Osborne gets a small piece. The 15 gets in there. Again, Barish, the 55, almost snuck through. Vincent Short on the bottom. Looks like he made through without any contact. 18 of James Harris. He's in it. 16 is also in it. Joe Robert. And conveniently, the wreck ends right at pit entrance, so these guys can get some of that pit work done relatively quickly. Caution is on the speedway, though. Pace car on the back straightaway. We're going to step aside for a short break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Working the caution here. Pace car lights are off. We're formed up. We're ready to go back to green. Just wait for that iRacing pace car to peel off the racing surface, and we'll be back to green flag racing. Lap 65 will go up on the board.
Green flag.
Green flag waves. Dalton Wagner out to a big jump. Again, we saw that at the beginning of the race. Don't know if you want to get too far out in front. Drag the brake a little bit into 1 and 2. No, he's not going to do it. Kind of a disorganized start for really everyone involved here. Wagner down the backstretch. They're forming up kind of single file. Wagner defending while Welch looks to the outside of double-out Joe Bennett. Joe Bennett on the bottom, stays in that second spot. Welch up top. Oh, real scary moment there for the 0-0. Slid through the dog leg just a bit. Thought he was for sure going to make contact with Derek Welch. Everybody gets away clean. Top 6 side by side. 3 rows back. The 16 of Joe Roberts sits there and watches for a hole to open for him. Welch powers to the outside into turn 3. He takes over the top spot but doesn't have Wagner clear. To the bottom, Wagner drives it back to the front. No help yet. Bit of a distance between himself and the 0-0 crossing the line. Wagner leads the lap. 67 go on the board. Oh, almost put the full 4 in the middle for a minute there. Drops it back down to the bottom. Still no draft help for Wagner. He's going to lose some momentum here off the corner. Tries to get up in front of Welch. Can't do it. Down the back straightaway. Welch is going to take the top spot again into turn number 3. A big push coming from now. I think that is the 110 machine of Richard Gray. Oh, contact made. Welch saves it through the dog leg. Incredible save by the 1. Contact was made with himself and Richard Gray right in the middle of the dog leg. How he saved that is beyond me. Slips back to the 5th position. Wagner's got to be happy to see that. All that on old tires. Masterful job by the driver of the 1 to hang on to that race car. Vincent Short back into the mix. Now at the nose of Derek Welch. Short now in the 2nd spot by a nose. Trying to drive up and take that top spot from Dalton Wagner. Vincent Short to the bottom. Welch checks up a bit. Leaves Short with no draft. This also might be a little bit of a plan for Welch to try and build some momentum and get a run on the 015. Into turn number 1, Welch right back to the back bumper of Vincent Short. They work into 1. Short, a nose out in front of Dalton Wagner. It's going to be a seesaw. We've talked about that a bunch today. It's back and forth, though that bottom lane is a little bit tight as far as the handling is concerned. Going to force some of these guys to check up, and if you've got a guy close on the back bumper and you start checking up, it could be disaster. So got to be careful on that bottom line. Richard Gray in that 110 machine who's taking a peek to the inside on the 15 of Hurst. Nothing doing there, but certainly aggression level kicking up here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's a bit early for it even still. We're 72 laps in of 120. Guys trying to see what their cars will give them, because there may be another stop to deal with before this one's said and done. Vincent Short still trying to take that top spot, not getting any love from the back. Derek Welch trying to make a move to go around the 015, but not giving him any drafting assistance. Remember, coming into tonight, points difference between these two, Vincent Short, Derek Welch, a close battle for the top spot between them both. A matter of just a few points between Short and Welch. Short with it, Welch right there in the back bumper in the points and on the track as Welch tries to go to the inside and Short shuts the door. Tires already starting to fall off just a bit. Remember, we saw practice times in the low 30s. Last time by 31.66 for Dalton Wagner in the draft. Back and forth they go. The 04 and the 015. Just behind them, it is the 1 and the 00, double out Joe Buck. Richard Hurst in the 15, Joe Robert the 16. Welch has switched lanes. Now Welch is up top, way up top, almost to the loose stuff. Again, keep in mind, we saw him get into the fence multiple times tonight, running that lane. He managed to avoid it this time, but it looks like he had to check up because he's going to lose 2, 3, 4 spots. Back on the charge again. Way up top through turns 3 and 4. Derek Welch. Again, that black and neon green NTG #1 Chevrolet. Trying a different line, seeing what he can do, seeing what's going to work. Meanwhile, Vincent Short takes over the top spot, clears Dalton Wagner, and we've got trouble in turn number 2. Cars in the fence, and no caution. They kept it straight. I saw spark, smoke, all kinds of stuff, and we stay under the green flag. James Harris and it looks like Richard Gray both involved in that. Both cars head to the pit lane for repairs. Meanwhile, up front, Vincent Short still with the lead. It's the 215 cars, the 015 and the 15. That's Short and Hurst. Dalton Wagner, the 04, slips back to third. Crossover coming, maybe not. Tucks into the back bumper of the 15. Vincent Short on the bottom with no help. Wagner's going to try and push Hurst back out in front. Maybe follow him by. If he can get enough of a run, maybe he can slot down in front of the 015. Short loses the top spot. Hurst retakes the top spot. Wagner's trying to steal it back away. This was a plan from the beginning. Send the 15 into the corner hard enough that he has to slide up the racetrack. You turn down to the bottom, and Wagner can take over the top spot again, but does he? No. Hurst maintains the position up in the high lane. Wagner down low, still fighting for it. Not quite clear as they cross the line to put lap 80 on the board. 41 to go. Jason Kraft slides up the track just a bit, slides it back down, almost contact with the right side of Vincent Short. All this happening in front of Derek Welch. Right on board with Derek. You hear the drivers lifting out of the throttle in the corners. Place like Atlanta with these fresh pavement and high banks, you would not expect it. But again, we are deep into the run. Tire fall off, still an issue. Last lap's almost 32 seconds for most drivers. That's slower than they ran in qualifying for some. That's with the draft. Having to lift out of the throttle, major thing here. We talked about drivers working with a tight condition on the bottom, having to check up. It seems it's just an everyday part of the corner at this stage of the race. Still a battle out front. Maybe some contact between Hurst and Wagner. Vincent Short tucks in behind. Wagner slides up the track just a bit. Hurst is going to really take the top spot here. Wagner's going to slip to third for the moment. Kraft trying to take advantage. He tucks in behind. And Derek Welch has some trouble again. Welch is in the fence. He is off the pace. Car slows. Contact with the one of Derek Welch. Very slow and off the pace. Welch will come to the pit lane. Not good for the point standings for Derek Welch as he limps that NTG Impala down pit road here for some repairs. Derek uses the fast repair, fixes the right side tires going on. Crew goes around to the left. It's going to be a 4-tire stop for Derek Welch. This will definitely get him to the end. But will it matter? At this point, Welch is definitely going to be a lap down. Hurst in short, out in front and second. Third is now Dalton Wagner. You've got the 53 machine, James Bowden. He is a lap down. He is in the mix, though. Welch slips back to the 10th position. First car a lap down. Would be eligible for a lucky dog if we were to get the caution. So Welch being one lap down, a lucky dog would really help his situation. You see the 53 of James Bowden. He is not a lead lap car, but he is right up in the mix with these leaders. Almost made contact with, I think it was Dalton Wagner there a brief moment ago. Wagner tries to slide up to maybe go to the inside of the 15 or in between and split the two of them. Top three under a blanket off turn number 4. Very close racing here with 31 laps to go at Atlanta. Top drivers Vincent Short for the moment down the back straightaway with Richard Hurst to the outside. Dalton Wagner behind Short. You've got the 53 of James Bowden, a lap down vehicle. He is in the top side there, the Interstate Batteries colors. Jason Kraft, the 23. Lead lap, position 4 on the bottom. And then you've got the 45 of Mark Collins. He has worked his way back into this lead pack as well. Also, Chris Clark in the 7. And look at that. Double out Joe Bennett worked his way back up there as well. Anybody's race still. I don't care who's at the front of the field here. Got 30 laps to go. Anything can happen. Pretend we're running a restrictor plate race because that's basically what we're dealing with right now. anything could happen. Anyone can win. While we follow this action, we're going to take a moment to do HBR TV's version of Crank It Up. Stay with us.
Caution. Save. 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 Push turn.
Every time we try to do that, we always get a caution. So yellow flag is out. Take a look and see exactly what happened here. Double out Joe Bennett. The 53 tries to cut across the nose. Let's back this up a little bit again. James Bowden just comes down on the 015 of Vincent Short. Again, Bowden a lap down, racing with the leaders. Big mess into turn one. I mean, you can just watch the replay, I guess. That's really what this comes down to. We'll stop it here on Vince. Not clear. Replay says it's worth 1,000 words, I guess, right? Well, it shakes things up. It looks like Vince Short, even though he was involved in that crash, he did have a fast repair to use, so he's going to go do that. Pit time was minimal. Looks like fuel only, maybe right sides again, Vincent Short. 26 laps to go. 15 of Hurst is going to restart, looks like second. Mark Collins third. And you've got Chris Clark and Tom Barish fourth and fifth. Quickly, we are on the one to go. Pace car lights are off, so next time by, it'll be 24 laps to go. Vincent Short will lead them to green. Richard Hurst, the other 15 car. Again, Vince in the 015 and Hurst in the 15. Mark Collins, the 45. He's going to restart third. You've got the 7 of Chris Clark. He's going to restart in the fourth position. .55 of Tom Barish. He will restart fifth. And then the 16 of Joe Robert, will start sixth with Dalton Wagner and Jason Kraft in behind those two as well. Now, through all this, looky, Derek Welch gets his lap back. Still in the 9th position, but plenty of time to catch these leaders and make a charge to the front and at least minimize the points loss that was going to happen based on that incident he had not too many laps ago. But again, the lucky dog gets him back in the lead lap position. Could still challenge for a win here. Pace car is off. We wait for the field to hit the Geico
Green
restart
flag.
zone. Green flag waves. We're underway. Richard Hurst changing lanes before the start-finish line. Not sure if that's the rules here or not. Many leagues do enforce it, but nonetheless, the 15 tucks in behind Vincent Short. Mark Collins there in 3rd. Hurst with a big run off turn number 2. Oh, car spinning down the back straightaway. Looks like Richard Gray leaving the pits. Joe Bennett. Joe Bennett in trouble down the back straightaway. I don't know exactly what happened there. Caution does not come out, but he is a hurting unit. Definitely going to need to get to the pits to get that one fixed. Let's see exactly what happened with double-out Joe Bennett. Just trying to get all he can. Got a little too much. Getting out of the pits. Crossed up. Hits the wall. That was in front of the leaders. I don't know how we didn't get a yellow out of that. Well, nonetheless, back out in front. Vincent Short and Richard Hurst doing battle. Coming to 22 laps to go. Welch still running in the 9th spot. Got to wonder about the tire decisions between the top 2 drivers. Hurst took 4. Vincent Short either took none or right sides only. It was a 9.68 second stop. .20 laps to go. Anybody still in this here? Derek Welch up into the 8th position, but only a few rows back. Vincent Short still battling for that top spot in the 45 of Collins gets turned.
Caution's out.
We got another wreck.
Everybody, a couple
Caution
laps
comes
by yourself
out.
there, how to feel.
Collins involved in this one hard. And I don't know what's going on with the 18. It's like he never saw the yellow, stayed in the throttle until the end of this thing. We talked about it in the beginning of the race. The aggression level was going to pick up. It certainly has. With 19 laps to go, we've got some beaten and battered race cars. Let's get a look at it. A little bit early. Looks like Dalton Wagner getting to the back of the 45. Collins slips up the track just a bit, but then Wagner does as well. And he clips that left rear just enough. Sends Collins down into the path of the 23 of Jason Kraft. Does Derek Welch get through this? Oh, I don't know how he got through that. That is unbelievable. Big impact for the 45. Another one coming. The 28's going to nail him. We'll go full speed here. And then the 18 just keeps it full throttle and collects the 53. Gotta check up, boys. I want to watch this one from Derek Welch's perspective, though. That was intense. On board. Car's wrecking in front. Goes high, just barely gets by these guys. No harm, no foul, unscathed. Not only that, he picks up a few spots. That could have been a championship decided right there. Looks like Mark Collins still had a fast repair to use, so that's a plus. We are going to take a short break, though. We will be back for the green flag. Stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Numb Thumbs Racing League ARCA Series. Stop 14 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Get ready to go back to the green. It'll be 16 laps to go to settle it. Big wreck here as of late. Derek Welch narrowly makes his way through it, and now he sits there in the top 5 in the 5th position here with a chance at winning this thing.
Green flag.
Green flag waves. Little wheel spin out of the 15. '16 to Joe Robert. Good restart by him. Gets to the 2nd spot. Vince Short slots down right underneath. Taking a peek to the bottom right now, hoping somebody will go with him. Dalton Wagner goes up top. Short looks to the bottom here with no help. He's going to have to find a dancing partner, and it's Derek Welch into turn number 3. He drops it to the low side. Tucks right in behind his points contender. Vincent Short, Derek Welch, 1 and 2 on the bottom. Up top, it's Hurst, Robert, and Wagner. 15 laps to go. Again, anybody's race. Vincent Short takes back the top spot, but doesn't have Hurst cleared on the backstretch. Welch is right to the back bumper of Short into 3. .13 laps to go. All 6 of these drivers have a shot at winning this thing. All reality, we talked about it before. If these 6 drivers have troubles here late, everybody behind them has a shot too. Chris Clark, Mark Collins, Tom Barish, they've all got a chance to win this thing as their lead lap cars. 10th on back, a lap down or more. Still a 2-wide train into turns 3 and 4. Both 15s, the 015 and the 15 up top. Then Derek Welch, the 16 of Joe Robert. Then you've got Jason Kraft and Dalton Wagner. That's your top 6. These guys all close together. You could throw a blanket over the top of them here with 11.5 laps to go, 10.5 laps to go to settle it here from Atlanta. First race for these guys on this new surface, this new layout, the high banks. Putting on a good show so far. It's been a blast to watch. Close quarters battle here at the front of the field as well as everywhere else. At the stripe, it's 10 laps to go. Richard Hurst now noses out in front for just a moment over Vincent Short. Vince takes advantage of the bottom side and gets it back as well. Here we go again with the seesaw, back and forth, back and forth. The 18 gets out of the way down the backstretch, lets the leaders race on through. Derek Welch slides up the track, loses the nose a bit mid-corner. The 16 of Robert notices that, gives him the space to save the race car. Back on the throttle he goes, though. Welch trying to find a way around to improve his position. He's not going to gain on Vincent Short if he keeps finishing behind him. Certainly a good recovery so far here in Atlanta. Again, at one point, Welch was over a lap down after a wreck under the green flag that did not bring out the caution. He had to pit for tires and repairs under the green flag, lost a lap, was the beneficiary of a lucky dog and a following caution. And here he sits now in the top 5, challenging here for a win with less than 7 laps to go. Vincent Short having a good day really from the beginning. He's only up 2 spots as he runs in the 2nd position. Qualified well. Anything less than a victory for Vince would probably be a disappointment. He really needs to try and put a bigger gap between him and Vince Welch. Derek Welch in a crash again. He is in the fence. Caution does not come out. There it is. The one in trouble one more time. Big wreck, getting bigger here on the front stretch. Osborne is in it. Welch is in it. Chris Clark, James Bowden again. Well, let's take a look at the replay. Let's see what happened. Already deep into it. Let's back it up. Looks like the 110 of Richard Gray in behind Derek Welch. This is down the backstretch. The incident starts into turn number 3. Gray in that 110 just starts to close that gap. Has a run, goes to the bottom, but I don't know where he's going to go with it. He doesn't have any room down low, and he just drives into the back of the 1. Sends Derek Welch into the outside wall. Another driver is checking up. Other driver's not catching it. Get the chain reaction crash after that. So we've had some drivers opt to take this opportunity to pit. We've got 5 laps to go. I think we may essentially have a green-white checker to settle this. Not an official green-white checker. As we're going to cross the line, it'll be 4 to go. Just going to depend on how many laps of caution we get out of this. Well, with that, we're going to take one more break. and hopefully be back to settle this one. Stay with us. Pace car lights are off. We're going to get the green flag here with 3 laps to go. So it'll be a green-green-white checker. That is all provided that we can get to that white flag without another incident coming out, bringing out the yellow flag. And if we do get a yellow flag before that white comes out, we can do up to 3 official green-white checkered finishes to settle it here from Atlanta. It's like the last 2 minutes of a basketball game. It'll take a half an hour, but I think we'll be okay. It's going to get aggressive. We're getting low on car count here just because of the wrecks that we've had. It's put a lot of these guys out of the race. We're getting ready to go back to green. The pace car peels off the racetrack. We get into the Geico restart zone. Green flag waves about halfway through, and we're back underway here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Richard Hurst gets the jump. Vincent Short caught sleeping. 3 laps to go. Wagner's going to drop, look to the inside. In fact, he's going to try and hang out Vince. Oh, Vince is going to attack to the outside. Maybe not. Drops down below. Joe Robert. Robert now in the second spot. Loosens up to 16, just a bit off turn number 2. He goes to the bottom. Now Dalton Wagner also goes to the bottom. Hurst leads that pack on the high side. The 16 and the 45 of Collins there. Now Short goes back to the point. Dalton Wagner giving him a good push. Off turn number 4. It's going to be 2 laps to go. Vincent Short, half a car in front of the 15 of Richard Hurst. Oh, and Dalton Wagner gets into the 15. Vincent Short is around. Caution on the speedway. And there it is, folks. Our first green-white checker is going to happen. Might have to rewind this one, too. Yes, we do. Get a closer look at it here. It'll be Vincent Short and Dalton Wagner, the 015 of Short and the 04 of Wagner. Dalton, again, just gets underneath the back bumper of Short on corner exit. You cannot push with these cars, especially mid-corner. Around goes Vincent Short. Oh, a little bit of an overcorrect. He's going to come into the path of the 55, get clipped. Straightens it back out. Luckily, the caution comes out for Vincent Short. He can get that machine fixed. So Vincent Short with some damage. He's going to be down pit lane. There's not a whole lot of cars on the lead lap, so it's not all lost as of yet for Vincent Short. But it does put Derek Welch in a good position now. He's ahead of the 015. He stands to gain some points. You see a fast repair used by Vince there. Right sides go in the air. He's going to have fresh rubber. I don't know if that's a disadvantage or not. We know sometimes the older tires seem to be better depending on the racetrack. We've seen Vince get away with taking right sides only a few times, but here we go with a green-white checkered finish on the line. Fast repair has been used. 4 fresh General tires on these ARCA cars. See what he can do with it. Looks like he's going to restart in the 7th position. Pace car lights are still on, so we're going to probably get the one to go the next time by. But here it is. Derek Welch now in the 3rd position. Now he's in a positive point position as compared to the 015. Again, we mentioned earlier these two battling for a points championship. Vince came into this afternoon as the points leader. Not a lot of points between himself and Derek Welch. We did not get the points update prior to the event, but again, we know it's tight. It is close. Richard Hurst dragging back things just a bit. So there it is. Pace car lights are off. We're going to get our first crack at this green-white checkered finish. Again, for those of you new to this that are just tuning in and not familiar, what's the green-white checkered finish? Well, it's kind of what it sounds like. They throw the green flag, and then the next time by, it's the last lap, so they're going to throw the white flag, which means 1 lap to go. And then the next time by, that's the final. It's over. It's checkered flag. That's race end. So that's why they call it a green-white checkered. Now, with this series, they do run up to 3 attempts, so that if we get a caution before the white flag comes out, we'll rack them up again. We'll try it another time, and that gives us 2 more attempts. If we get all the way through 3 and the caution comes out before the white, that would end the race. So whoever would be the leader at that stage would be credited with P1. That said, I don't see it happen very often that we need all 3, but a place like Atlanta and the ARCA cars, I wouldn't be shocked. Hopefully it's not the case, and see if we can get this thing done here. Pace car about to peel off turn number 4, and we wait on the green flag.
Green flag.
Good jump by Richard Hurst. Joe Robert as well. Derek Welch drags it back just a bit, maybe by design, try to get that run. Two laps to go. Richard Hurst out in front. Derek Welch powers his way into the 2nd spot. Looking to the bottom, trying to take the top spot down the backstretch. Hurst throws the block. Again, there's a line rule here, just like Daytona and Talladega. You can't pass below that line. You'll get a penalty. Hurst still out in front. Welch second. Vince Short now the back bumper of Derek Welch. Contact made. Welch goes around. Vincent Short goes on by. Slight contact. Final lap. Do they get the caution? No, caution does not come out. This is the final lap of the race. The starter had the flag in hand. Vincent Short now in the 2nd spot. Dalton Wagner right to the back bumper. I don't know if he's going to be able to make a pass without some help. And really, Richard Hurst is just in cruise control. He's going to take this win. Richard Hurst through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Started 15 positions south. Crosses the stripe first. Wins the race. Second is Vincent Short. Dalton Wagner third. Chris Clark fourth. Fifth, Joe Robert. Derek Welch finishes P6. Exciting finish here in Atlanta. Richard Hurst, Army colors on board, wins this race. Well earned. Let's try and get a look at that last lap. I got to go through a whole bunch of things happen there coming to the stripe. Let's watch it first. Derek Welch. Again, comes into it a little bit late. Let's back it up again. Again, Welch, the black and neon green #1. We're looking at this just due to the fact that this is the points battle here. You saw Vincent Short was behind Derek. Welch tries to make a move to the high side, but the 16 was coming down at the same time. They make mild contact, but it's real flat there. You're under load. Welch gets turned coming to the stripe. Collins gets it. Dalton Wagner gets a small piece of it. There's a little bit of door-to-door contact with the 04 and the 015. Joe Robert gets a piece of the wall as well, and then you see the rest of it continue from there. Exciting finish here at Atlanta. We're going to step aside real quick, try to get our top 3 in for interviews. Just stay with us, folks. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Numb Thumbs Racing League ARCA Series. Race 14 in the books from Atlanta. Richard Hurst victorious, Vince Short, Dalton Wagner, the top 3. We're going to go down and get a word with our winner. Driver of the 15, Richard Hurst. Let's see if we can pull Richard into the broadcast booth. Rich, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. Do you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
There we go. All right. Well, congratulations first off on the win. You looked strong all afternoon. Just plain and simple, what was the strategy coming into this afternoon's race? I know no one really has a lot of experience here yet, as it's a relatively new release. What was the game plan coming in?
Well, the game plan was actually to qualify well, and I somehow missed that memo because I qualified 15th, and I had to work my way up. And working my way up through this field was very difficult. I had a few good runs, but Dalton, Vincent, they were all strong cars. Had an ally out there that was the 16 of Joe Robert. So I had a little bit of help on the track, and Derek Welch, he was doing a really good job, and I hate to see what happened to him on the last lap. But my strategy was to keep it clean, use my fast repairs like really quick, once on accident and once due to an incident in a wall. But yeah. It was very interesting.
It was certainly a great race to watch. Everything went to hell in a handbasket there on that last lap. Reckon basically coming to the white flag, so the white flag gets tossed anyway. You guys pretty much, it was all clear sailing for you. No one really hit the back door of that last lap.
Yeah, I was happy to see that white flag. I was like, please no caution, please no caution. I got a big gap. And this was my first race that I won with Numb Thumbs. So, I was pretty happy to see that. But yeah, I was hoping to see that white flag came out in time. And, like I said, I hate that happened to Derek Welch. He would have had that race because he had the freshest tires out of us all. But, big shout out to, Vincent. He raced me really clean. Big shout out to Dalton. Those two are very good racers. We used to broadcast, some of the ARCA series races, and I loved watching them. They always put on a really good show. So Track Bar Media is definitely proud to have him on board. But yeah, great racing. Shout out to Numb Thumbs, Derek Welch, all these guys who put it together. You in the broadcast booth. I listened to it. I listened to the broadcast while I was driving. So, great job. Can't wait to see what comes up next week.
Certainly appreciate the kind words, man. I know you got a bunch of thank yous out of the way already, but again, congratulations on the P1 finish. A great race, fun to watch. You did a nice job. But before we let you go, is there anybody else that you may have missed that you need to thank? I just want to make sure we give you all the opportune time to do it.
Well, I'll thank Southern Broadcast Racing Network because they are a part of me. I am co-owner of the Southern Broadcast Racing Network, so glad to have them on board on my car also. And
killing me, dropping the competitive plug.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, man. I would do it to you too. It's fine. Well, Rich, again, congratulations, man. A great run, and thanks for chatting with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was Richard Hurst, your winner here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Next, we're going to go to Vincent Short, have a chat with driver of the 015. Vince, it's Steve in the HBR booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Vince, I don't know how you did it. We watched Derek have issues all night long and work his way back to the front time and time again, and then it all went to hell for him. You had your issues there late, and you managed to bring this home into second place. What was the strategy coming into tonight, and what was the audible there, I guess, when that wreck happened at the end?
Yeah, me and Dalton were talking about that. I wasn't real upset. I think it was just at that moment I kind of vented because it was in the middle of the race. And, I basically just told him, you can't push in these cars, especially in thirds.
Yeah, you certainly can't with the ARCA car. It's tough to do. But, again, adrenaline gets the best of us sometimes.
Yeah, it was just a short chap, and me and him talked about it. He's never really ever gave me a hard time. We always race hard with each other. I'm just glad to see him back in the league. He's really fun to race with.
Well, you looked good out there. I don't know how you made your way back through. Again, no harm, no foul. I know you didn't win the race, but second place, and you still finished ahead of Derek Welch, so another good points day for you. What are your thoughts going into the next set of races here?
I actually have to look at the schedule. I can't remember what we have next. My main thing is just stay ahead of Derek, whatever position it is, and then put myself in position to win when I can. I thought I had it today. I'd figured something out with the track, and it worked, and that's what me and Dalton were talking about. I was able to get it to work, and I just stuck with it, which is the old school version of street stocks on Charlotte, which is to hold the bottom line and just keep there because it makes it hard for them to go around the high side.
Now, we talked to Dalton a little bit after his stage wins, and he was talking about the bottom kind of being difficult, and it had a bit of a push to it. Was that something you were experiencing at all or no?
Early on, yes. Early in the race until the track started wearing in. Once I figured it out, it was just a matter of throttling and being patient. Just like, you've raced with me before. It's one of those things, if you back it off, you actually go faster. So once I figured out how to get it to stick down there, I just held the line. I figured if they're going to pass me, they're going to have to go high. And obviously the high line didn't hold together throughout the race.
Well, certainly a great recovery, a great finish for you. North Wilkesboro is what's on tap next week for you guys in this ARCA series. What are your thoughts going into there?
Well, I won last time there with no practice, so, fingers crossed I might just use that same method and just not practice and see how it goes.
Vince Short, pretty confident going into Wilkesboro. Before we let you get out of here, is there anybody else that you need to thank?
Most definitely my big sponsor, Track Bar Media, HBR TV, Holler Boys Racing, True Blessings Thrift Store, my grandbabies, Kira, Mara, and Raylyn, my daughters, Ashley, Rayleigh, and Shelby, and my brother Kyle, my nephew Landon, and my mom Janet, and my sister Jessie. I thank you guys all for watching, man. It really is a blast. And my wife, could not do this without my wife, Nikki. I mean, she is just a godsend for this thing. But also you guys, the broadcast is always awesome. Thank you.
All right, Vince, congratulations, man. Good run, second spot. Thanks for chatting with us. Good luck next week.
Thank you, guys.
It was Vince Short, second place finisher. Next, we're going to go to the 04 winner of stage 1 and 2, Dalton Wagner. It's Steve Singer in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy. How we doing?
Not too bad. A solid top 3. Probably not where you expected or wanted to be, but you won the first 2 stages of the race. Thought you were going to sweep this thing. Let's talk about the last 15 laps of your race. Highlights, lowlights, what do you got?
I mean, let's go back to the last 60 laps of my poor driving of, getting underneath guys, spinning them out. I try and be as clean as I can coming to these races. I think, my last 6 races, I've had 16 incident points. I just got 12 here. So really poor driving. But yeah, I apologize to, I think, Mark and Vincent. Talk to those guys. Apologize to them.
We talk about, super speedway racing, Daytona, Talladega, how it's just always chaos. And it's kind of brought that out here at Atlanta with this new layout. It's close quarters racing. It's going to happen. You're going to have some hurt feelings across the board. I wouldn't say it was bad driving. It's go time. You're trying to get to the finish. The safest place really seems to be at the front of the field. And I don't think anybody at the end of the day, if they really go back and watch this, is really going to blame you too bad.
No, I mean, I try to stay in the front, like we talked about in stage 2. I wanted to be up front, clean air, and that was where the accidents weren't happening. Behind us, a little messy, tight racing, like you said, and it's a little dicey back there. I like being out front, but unable to do that for the whole race.
Well, speaking of dicey racing and tight racing, we go to North Wilkesboro next week. First of all, are you going to make it? And if you are, what are your thoughts going into that place?
I believe I'll make it. Not sure yet. Never raced there, so I really don't know.
It's a fun place. My personal opinion, in an ARCA car, it is a blast. But you got to mind your P's and Q's because it's not the smoothest place.
I mean, I'll give it a whirl. I'll practice, see what we can do, and hopefully beat out some of these guys. Got to catch up on points to Vincent. He's trying to run away with it.
Nice to have a 3-car battle going into the final here at the end of the season. So, Dalton, congratulations, man. A 3rd place finish. Well done. Before I let you get out of the booth, is there anybody you need to thank?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Kenneth Stocks, my brother who's watching, and his fiance. Give them a shout out.
Simple enough. Thanks for chatting with us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Was Dalton Wagner your 3rd place finisher? Again, won stage 1 and 2. Unable to bring out the broom and sweep the 3, but finishes P3 nonetheless. Good points day for the 04. Again, he had a win at Watkins Glen a few weeks ago. He's going to try and make a challenge here, make a charge here for the points, and maybe give some contending to Derek Welch and Vincent Short as we close into the end of the season. So certainly going to be fun to watch that. Balance of the race results. Of course, we talked to our top 3. 4th place was Chris Clark. Joe Robert finished P5. Derek Welch was 6th. Again, not a terrible day. It was the last car on the lead lap officially. But he was in a position to gain some points on Vincent Short. and it just didn't come to fruition. Late crash coming to the white flag. Still finished in that 6th spot, so not terrible. Didn't lose a ton of points, but didn't maintain, and that's really the goal. Is just at this point, if you can't beat them, you got to at least keep it even and try to get them at the next one. So tough break for Derek Welch. Again, still 6th place finish, but he'll move on to Wilkesboro and see what he can do out there at the short track. 7th was John Osborne. Mark Collins, a finish not indicative of his performance. He looked real strong today. He finished 8th. Double Aught Joe Bennett finished 9th. Tom Barish was 10th. James Harris finished in the 11th position. 12th, Jason Kraft. James Bowden was 13th. 14th was Richard Gray. Kenny Stocks was 15th. Carson Conway, 95 laps down, finished 16th after I think it was a lap 2 incident with Derek Welch. And then Brian Tiffany, I don't believe Brian took the green flag officially. He's credited with 17th position, 124 laps down. Lastly, I want to thank everybody who joined us in the stream, whether it was Facebook or YouTube. Again, remind you guys, we do multi-stream to both platforms. It's more of a backup for us in case one end or the other decides to not cooperate. We've had Facebook do that to us a couple of times here and there. It's always good to have that backup plan on YouTube. But if you're not already following us, please do so. Find us HBR TV, 1 on Facebook and YouTube, both platforms. Same username, I guess you could call it. Find us there, like, follow, share, subscribe, and most importantly, turn the notifications on. So in case you want to watch the race and you're busy out with friends having, drinks at happy hour or whatever you're doing and you forget, well, you'll get the notification just like, Facebook does, or your text messages or emails or over 9 million apps you got on your phone. You're not going to miss a minute of the action here at HBR TV and here at Numb Thumbs Racing. The ARCA Series again goes next week to North Wilkesboro, so tune in for that. Be here about 7:55, 8 o'clock. You won't miss a minute. Qualifying usually kicks off about 8:05, 8:10, so be around for that. Again, lastly, thank you. Participation in the stream chat. I only talk about it every race. It's very much appreciated, even if it's you drivers out there. If you insist on trying to chat up here in the stream while you're driving, by all means, have at it. Just don't want to hear it when you wreck because you're texting and driving. But again, it's your prerogative. But everybody else who's here to watch the race, family of these drivers, tell us who you're cheering for, where you're watching from, your insights. Oh, that guy wrecked this guy. Whatever you want to say, just keep it PG and we'll be happy, all right? So again, thanks for that participation. Thanks for watching. We're going to get out of here. For Steve Singer here at HBR TV, congratulating Richard Hurst winning here race 14 at Atlanta, the Numb Thumbs Racing League ARCA Series. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a good night.